Commissioner Peter Wood.
Hi, first, thanks for your stamina today. I know days like these can be really long. So my name is Peter Wood. I'm a resident of Ward 1 and serve as Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner in the Adams-Morgan neighborhood. And I share this testimony today in my individual capacity as Commissioner of ANC 1C03. I want to keep my testimony fairly simple and a bit repetitive of what I've said to this committee during past budget oversight hearings. Cutting domestic violence funding is expensive. We need to, at a minimum, maintain previous funding levels for both restorative and preventative measures related to domestic violence. Yes, budget cuts will be necessary this year. I think we've all been very well aware of that. Yet not all budget cuts are equal. Some put lives in serious jeopardy. And in 2026, we've already seen that individuals who are particularly vulnerable to domestic violence are in a uniquely dire moment. Also, if we want to avert future avoidable budget struggles, like the one we're in now, we need to make wise investments at this moment. Otherwise, we risk seeing ballooning costs further down the road in response to violence and suffering that could have been prevented or at least mitigated earlier on. For better or for worse, domestic violence in the district has come into the limelight this year. And while I'm aware of proposed legislation recently introduced by our mayor and the U.S. Attorney for D.C. that could potentially change how domestic violence is addressed in D.C., I'm challenging this committee to go beyond that. Please, for the sake of Washingtonians you represent, undo the mayor's proposed cuts to domestic violence services. Punitive measures related to crimes that already happened are inherently different than financing the infrastructure for survivors to recover and investing in preventative measures so future violence is less likely. I really do believe that the members of this committee are cognizant of this, and that's why I'm eager to support you in fixing this harmful budget proposal. Together as the District of Columbia, we need to lead on issues of public safety rather than wait for the federal government to dictate our future for us. Of course, our unjust lack of statehood forces many caveats to that task, but it is a quintessential task nonetheless. The reasons our leadership is important are twofold. Failure to do so puts lives in immediate risk. That by itself should be enough to justify fixing this proposed budget cut. Secondly, domestic violence as a budget matter exposes the core of a government's ethos. Every individual, every constituent inherently deserves to exist in a home without fear of that home's safety being violated, to have the chance to no longer be trapped in a cycle of harm. If we can't get this right automatically and without hesitation, then how can we possibly claim to have a moral rule of law? Cutting funding for domestic violence at this moment would in essence tell survivors to remain trapped in that cycle. So I repeat myself by joining the many others here today, calling for council to restore domestic violence funding to its previous levels. Doing so will save lives, save money, and offer a small bit of solace at a time when it's desperately needed. Thank you.